Tough Enough! Smile through WWE's journey to find its next great superstar, featuring an all-star cast of characters, including 2 hosts, 3 judges, 3 coaches, 12 executive producers, 36 lighting technicians, 44 stagehands, 18 directors, 18 writers, 5 gold rings, and 13 contestants. Join Michael Strahan and Kelly Ripa for a rough, tough hour of smiling, makeup, judging, coaching, and time-permitting character development. Listen to Podnasty on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/AKONUWA. It is Alfred, Big Nasty Kunawa, Dateline! June 25th, 2015. It is Arbor Day. It's Independence Day in the Mozambique. It's National Catfish Day. It's Statehood Day in Croatia. It's Statehood Day in Slovenia. It's Statehood Day in Virginia. Which one of these don't belong? It's Teachers Day. It's the 2015 NBA Draft Day. If the Lakers don't take D'Angelo Russell, with the second pick and keep him, I'm not even a Lakers guy. I live in the area. I live in Orange County. I'm a Milwaukee Bucks guy, full disclosure. They're my favorite team. But if the Lakers don't take D'Angelo Russell, fire everybody. Fire everybody. Even Kobe. Fire them all. Start from the ground up. And it's also World Vitiligo Day. Rest in peace, Michael Jackson. As always, subscribe to Podnasty on iTunes and YouTube. Listen to Podnasty on SoundCloud and Stitcher. Did you guys see Tough Enough? If so, I'm sorry. What a mess. What was that? What did I watch? What a mess. And I was so excited for it because I feel this is another great way to pipeline the young up-and-coming talents into NXT and the WWE because, let's face it, NXT is not a true developmental territory. They're going to have a Beast of the East show July 4th in Sumo Hall in Japan. NXT, the championship for NXT is going to be one of the headlining matches. It's not a developmental territory. Its champion is on Raw every week. It's not a developmental territory. It's a hybrid. But Tough Enough could have been that true developmental, where guys are learning the ropes, girls are learning the ropes, women rather, where they are learning how to cut a promo and work a match, and they are true green developmental talents that you get close to over a span of 10 weeks, so by the time they come to NXT, you already have a connection, for better or worse. Maybe they are a natural heel. Maybe it's that Brazilian woman who comes off as a natural heel. Maybe it's that ZZ guy who they're trying to bludgeon you over the head. Hey, this is America's overweight underdog. But whoever it is gets to show up in NXT with a ready-made personality, and they're ready to go. That is a true developmental. But the execution was awful. Absolutely awful. Overproduced. You've got this big, flashy sound stage. You've got 2 hosts, 3 judges, 3 coaches. No head coach, by the way. They're just 3 coaches who coach. 13 contestants, who are all put on the back burner, by the way. By the end of that first episode, half of the talent who were there, some of them who stepped up and were asked questions, I didn't even know they were on the show. Awful. And when I look at Tough Enough, when I think Tough Enough, I think gritty. It's a show about being tough. It's a show about grinding it out and working your ass off to become a WWE superstar. And what's the first thing you see on Tough Enough? Jericho with a popped collar and Backstreet Boy hair, smiling. The man's got makeup on. Hi, welcome to Tough Enough. Am I watching Tough Enough for the Osmonds? Nobody's going to doubt Jericho's toughness. Nobody. I understand. Anybody who follows wrestling closely knows how tough Jericho is. Any wrestler, a legendary wrestler at that, is automatically qualified as tough. WWE superstars and divas are the toughest athletes in the world. And we've all heard the story of Jericho's backstage scuffle with Goldberg. He's a tough dude, but to the layman, to the casual fan, you see a guy with a cheesy smile and a cheesy haircut and a popped collar with a blazer welcoming you to Tough Enough. It's not tough. I didn't know if I was watching the Tough Enough or the Osmonds. It's not tough. When I think of toughness, I'm sorry, I don't think of Renee Young. Just cutesy, blonde chick, really pretty, kind of dorky, tries too hard to be dorky to relate. That's not tough. It doesn't need 2 hosts. It doesn't need 3 judges, 3 panelists. It doesn't need all this stuff. And they're following this outdated American Idol format where there's judges who are going to nominate somebody and they each get a say. Let me tell you something right now. American Idol is entering its last season next year. American Idol is going to enter its last season. This is bad news for The Voice. This is bad news for that entire model. Because what that's saying is that American Idol, whose ratings have been slumping for years now, the fact that American Idol is going away means that model is old hat. People don't want to see the singing competition anymore. That real estate is shrinking. WWE should not be mimicking American Idol in this day and age because it is on its way out. Like, if McDonald's went out of business, Burger King wouldn't be celebrating. If McDonald's, which is an iconic fast food brand, went out of business, that is the standard bearer of fast food. It would be an indication that people don't want to eat fast food anymore. It wouldn't be a McDonald's problem, it would be an industry problem. And that's what's happening with American Idol, and that's why shows like Tough Enough should not mimic that model. It's outdated. That show is going to get canceled. Do not mimic that model. But they did, and it makes the show seem out of touch. And it's just constant back and forth between live studio show and pre-taped segments. And it gives you very little time to connect with any of the 13 contestants. They're in the live studio where you've got the 2 hosts and the 3 panelists, and barely anybody has time to get their words in. And Jericho's using this contrived lower register that's just takes away from the show. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was an abject mess. What was wrong with the last model? You know, the one from season 5 that drew ratings, where Steve Austin is just out in the ranch with the contestants, and he's berating them, and he's pushing them mentally and physically, and at the end there's that always that great show-ending rant by Austin. That was incredible. That's all you need. Less is more with this type of show. You just want to develop characters and see who could be the next WWE superstar. Paige gets enough TV time. Daniel Bryan, when healthy, gets enough TV time. Hulk Hogan has had enough TV time over the course of his career. He's the biggest star in wrestling history. I want to see a head coach, 2 assistants, and contestants go. If Jericho's going to be the host of Tough Enough, he needs to be in there training them. I want Chris Jericho, the wrestler. I don't want Donny Osmond. This isn't Sonny and Cher. If I hear one musical performance announced for Tough Enough, I quit. I don't care if I'm paid to watch this stuff. I quit. Stop with the overproduction. I was looking so forward to this, and then they had this special on YouTube where they revealed the set, and I was just like, ugh. Is this going to be one of those overproduced pseudo-reality shows? We don't need it. We don't need it. Not very good at all, but the good news, as I mentioned earlier this week on Bleach Report, there's nowhere to go but up for Tough Enough. It will not get worse than this, I hope. Because everybody, even the contestants who are buried for the most part, the contestants all come off as unlikable. In the little time I spent with the contestants this past week on Tough Enough, they're all unlikable. And don't give me this ZZ stuff. It's WWE's blatant attempt to create this overweight underdog who, hey, you can get behind him because he comes in last, but boy, he just keeps fighting. It's this blatant attempt to create this underdog, and even that rubs me the wrong way. I don't like any of them. I really hope that they continue to take time and focus more on the contestants. Build them up so that people can connect. Because at the end of the day, even if Tough Enough bombs, at least the wrestling fans, the ones who watch WWE Network, the ones who religiously watch the product, at least they'll be connected to some degree to these Tough Enough stars. And once casual fans see them getting cheered, maybe on NXT, maybe by a vocal minority on Raw, then they'll start to buy in too. I mean, Big Brother operates a very similar model where it's you get the studio and then you go straight to the contestants, but they do it seamlessly. Big Brother's the greatest reality show of all time. Love it. But they have one host, Julie Chen, who serves as the liaison from the outside world to the Big Brother house. That's it. You don't got all these hosts and judges and opinions. You've got one woman, Julie Chen, who holds the viewer's hands and takes you in and out of the Big Brother house. That's perfect. See, if you're going to operate this studio reality show format, that's how you should do it, with one person. WWE is using like 12. And the Tough Enough posters look like a Royal Rumble poster. Less is more, I'm telling you. Less is more with Seth Rollins, too. And by less, I mean less character development. I think he's on a trajectory right now that is very good. And everybody is waiting for his heel turn, or for his babyface turn. He's a heel right now. On Raw, they beat down Brock Lesnar. I liked it. I liked it because I was not comfortable watching Brock Lesnar get beat down. And it really did bring out the mark in me to some degree where it's like, man, I can't wait till Seth Rollins gets his comeuppance. That doesn't happen to me a lot. And it told me that Seth Rollins is a good heel. Now, they're getting very repetitive with this authority angle where he keeps isolating everybody and then they keep coming back. But I know what they're doing. You know, only so many times will they keep coming back. I get it. Eventually, they'll just get sick of him for good. I get it. But I like Rollins as a heel. I think WWE's onto something. I think he has a heel persona. I don't think they should be in any hurry to turn him babyface. I know his in-ring style is very fun to watch. It's very babyface-ish, but he doesn't get any of that smart love. There's no vocal minority chanting for Seth Rollins. They're chanting Justin Bieber. They're chanting You Sold Out. He, in this modern day of wrestling, with internet wrestling street cred up the wazoo, is able to be a top heel. And there's something to be said about that. That's talent. He needs to remain a top heel to the end of 2015. There's no need to turn him right now. I really feel if they blow up this authority angle and they do a feud between him and Triple H, he needs to be the heel. Triple H needs to be seen as the responsible executive who's doing the valiant thing and trying to shut this punk kid up. And Seth Rollins needs to win. I like Seth Rollins the bad guy, and I want to see Seth Rollins the bad guy against Brock Lesnar the good guy. He's doing a very good job as a heel. Again, very repetitive, but I don't think that's a fault of his. He does good with what he's given. I like Seth Rollins as a heel. Don't turn him babyface. Keep him bad. Keep him bad. Meanwhile, you should keep Ryback good. Ryback as a babyface has been spectacular. And I mean, we're in this age where you got to do a triple backflip in order to get over with this internet crowd. And I know Ryback kind of looks like this guy who's a bodybuilder, who doesn't want it, who's just there to get famous off of wrestling. He couldn't be any farther from that. He's a guy who grew up wanting to be a wrestler and fights harder than just about anybody to become a wrestler and to get better. And he's telling you that now. That's the difference between Ryback now and when he was initially pushed. When he was initially pushed in 2012, 2013, Ryback was talking about feed me more. He didn't say anything. All he said was feed me more. He was this machine. He was in handicap matches. He was running through everybody. And it elicited these sarcastic Goldberg chants because people were seeing right through it. People felt that Ryback was being forced on them. But now over this past year, he's been talking about what wrestling means to him. He's been talking about what the Intercontinental Championship means to him. He's been saying how, my parents haven't spoken in 15 years. They came together to watch me defend the title. Stuff like that is getting Ryback over as a human. And it's doing more than any handicap match ever could. He's a human. He's somebody who fans now want to chant feed me more. They're not chanting Goldberg. They like him. They really, really like him. He's done a masterful job humanizing himself and cutting meaningful promos. I think it's he's vulnerable. He's resilient. This feud with the Big Show, I think it's going to be a very useful win if they put him over the Big Show clean, which doesn't happen a lot. I like it. I like what he did on Raw. I don't understand the fact that he keeps getting over on the Big Show. Like, they had that scuffle backstage, and he pretty much got the better of the Big Show. He's already slammed the Big Show. There needs to be a chase of some sort, doesn't there? Like some question of this babyface in doubt, so that you can pay to see whether or not he can overcome the odds. The booking of that angle seems backward, but I really do like the Ryback human character. I like that they're letting him talk. I like that we know his struggle. He feels close to everybody. And he's that rare mid-carder who isn't just expendable, who isn't just there to be there, who isn't just some former prospect. Because Lord knows he was on his way to being just that. The prototypical mid-card of the day is a guy who, once upon a time, WWE had a lot invested in. But then it just quite didn't work out, and they go to the mid-card, and who cares? That's what just about everybody in the mid-card is now. That's what Ryback seemed to be destined for, but he's different. And he's been connecting with fans with promos. And now he's several notches above just about everybody in the mid-card. And he's doing a great job. I like it. I hope they keep it up with Ryback. And maybe I'm being greedy, but I hope they keep it up with these live event specials. I'm really looking forward to this Beast in the East show. Sumo Hall, Japan, this seems very exciting. It just feels unprecedented. It is. For the WWE Network. Going to Sumo Hall in Japan, I think I'm going to be up 5 in the morning to watch that. I think I'm waking up 5 in the morning to watch it live. It's just so different. And the Japanese crowd, if you ever watch New Japan Pro Wrestling or Japanese wrestling, they tend to be a little more quiet. They tend to just appreciate the art of professional wrestling. They definitely get into it, but they tend to observe more than get into it and chant so much and do all that stuff. But it's still a very good atmosphere to watch, and I'm looking forward to Beast in the East. I think it's a great title. Maybe I'm being picky, but I think it should be a Beast in the East, not the Beast in the East. That just seems cheesier. A Beast in the East sounds like a beast is lurking, something like that. But I'm looking forward to this show. I'm looking forward to the NXT Championship match between Kevin Owens and Finn Balor. Two guys who are no strangers to Japan. I mean, this is going to, like NXT, I call NXT an hour-long orgasm for the internet. That's pretty much what this show is going to be. Especially when Kevin Owens and Finn Balor do battle. And I fully expect Kevin Owens to drop the NXT Championship. I do. He's gone as far as he can go as NXT champion. He's gone as far as he can go in NXT, and he's already been integrated to the main roster. That pesky title is the only thing keeping him on NXT, is that he has a title, he's a champion, he needs to be on TV. Losing a very spectacular match against Finn Balor, which I expect it to be, that spectacular match against Finn Balor at Beast in the East will do nothing. Will not hurt Kevin Owens. Especially if they integrate John Cena somehow. Maybe earlier in the night, Kevin Owens cost John Cena a match. Later on in the night, John Cena gets his revenge. But I really do want to see a straight-up mano-a-mano match between Kevin Owens and Finn Balor. And when he loses the title, I think he goes into Battleground and beats John Cena for the United States Championship. I think that gives them license to now take Kevin Owens from NXT to the main roster, full-time, exclusively in the main roster, and beat John Cena for the U.S. title. Because John Cena's not even defending that title anymore. When's the last time he had the U.S. Open Challenge? He's not doing it anymore. He was off Raw. When he's on Raw, Kevin Owens comes in and interrupts him. They should have the U.S. Open Challenge with Kevin Owens banned from ringside. I think WWE's realized that they've not only gone as far as they can go with Kevin Owens as NXT champion, they might have gone as far as they can go with John Cena as U.S. champion. Who's next? Zack Ryder, I think, was his last opponent. Who's next? Heath Slater? I mean, he still hasn't gotten a shot. I'd like to see that for joke purposes. I would like to see Heath Slater beat John Cena. That would never happen, but that would be fun to watch. But who's next? John Cena's run out of big spot opponents who pop the crowd. I don't think WWE's in any hurry to call up NXT talents to continue to surprise people. I think we're at the end of the road with this Intercontinental or U.S. Open Challenge. It was fun while it lasted. I don't know how much it did for the division. I don't think that title means any more than it did before. I think we only care about it because John Cena has it. I think having a John Cena Open Invitational would do much more than a U.S. title Open Invitational, because let's say somebody did beat John Cena for that U.S. title. Then what? Then you're the guy who now has the title and you're not John Cena. And it probably hurts you more than it helps. The minute the referee's hand comes down for that 3, you've peaked as U.S. champion. But with Kevin Owens, you get another great match against John Cena, and Kevin Owens somehow wins that title. Sky could be the limit. Could be the beginning of something very special. Dolph Ziggler could signify the end of something very special, as there are now rumors running rampant that he may retire. Dolph Ziggler retired, he would go into that bucket with like John Morrison and like a Magnum TA for the old school, and guys who maybe were on the precipice chance of becoming huge superstars, but just didn't quite get there. Now, with Magnum TA, it was injury-related. With Dolph Ziggler, it was kind of injury-related, too. It seemed like every time he got the ball, every time he got a world title, or he was on the precipice of the main event, he got hurt. He wrestles a very reckless style, very entertaining style, but very physical. I would say his career was a success, all things considered. He won just about every title there is to win. For a while, he was always in consideration as a potential world champion, always near or in that main event picture. And he continues to do good things as a gatekeeper. But if you want to look at it in terms of what could have been, I think what could have been in pro wrestling can be quite overrated. I think wrestling is the ultimate form of capitalism. You get out of it what you put into it, you get out of it what you're worth. If you're going to be a big star, you're going to be a big star, period. No matter what type of political hierarchy, no matter what type of backstage politics, if you're meant to be a star, you will navigate around all of them. Look at CM Punk. Look at all he had to deal with politically. They literally did not change his name because they had no plans for him. They said, oh, it's just this guy, we'll never put him on TV, just keep him in developmental, call him CM Punk, let him have his name, whatever. He fought every single political hurdle and became a star because that's what stars do. He was a star in ROH, star in WWE. I mean, he's going to get his ass whipped in UFC, but he'll be somewhat of a star. Maybe, he'll have a good record. That's what stars do. If you're meant to be a star, you'll be a star no matter what. No matter what creative has for you, no matter what the political circumstances are you, earners earn. Stars become stars. Hulk Hogan, you put him in WCW, AWA, WWE, if there are any changes in his path. Like if you were to go back on time and you stepped on a bug, one of those little analogies where you go back in time and you change something just slightly and the entire future is altered. Somewhere in that parallel universe, Hulk Hogan is the star of something. I don't know if he's the biggest banker of all time. I don't know if he's the greatest accountant of all time. I don't know if he's a porn. I don't know what he does. Somewhere in that parallel universe, Hulk Hogan is a star. Because stars are stars. This whole what could have been, I don't believe in it. I just think if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't in professional wrestling. It's not fair. Some guys are held back. Some guys are held down. But if they're truly stars, they overcome it. They overcome it. Zack Ryder was on his way to being a huge star, and yes, he did get hosed. He got hosed by creative. He got hosed by the higher powers. He got hosed by people who didn't want to be a star. So what? So they don't want you to be a star. At the end of the day, if you're truly a star, it's not their decision. Eventually your star power will shine so bright that it's demanded. That it gets white hot near riot conditions where people will not accept a world where you're not a star. If you're meant to be, you are. In WWE and professional wrestling. I truly believe that. I believe that in life. You hear this talk of unions, you hear all this talk of redistribution of wealth, and it's like people who know how to make a lot of money will make that money. Regardless of what system they're in. Jay-Z once rapped, put me anywhere on this earth and I will triple my worth. That is the credo of earners, of superstars, of guys who got it, of women who've got it. No matter where you are on this planet, if you are meant to make a lot of money, if you know how to be a star, if you know how to accomplish, if you're goal-oriented, you will be that guy or that girl. Simple as that. And Dolph Ziggler just didn't get there. I don't know what was missing. It's a tough business. He was close. Very close. And he carved out a very good niche as one of the top wrestlers in WWE, somebody who can have a great match with anybody. He should be proud of the legacy he left behind. But that legacy is going to be a little compromised by the fact that a lot of people are always going to say, if he retires, a lot of people are always going to say, well, he could have done more. He should have done more. He should have been the next Shawn Michaels, or he should have been what Kurt Hennig was on his way to being before his injuries started piling up. That's the legacy of Dolph Ziggler. But it's okay, because at the end of the day, first ballot WWE Hall of Famer by their standards, right? Give it a few years. He'll be a Hall of Famer. A very good outside career in comedy. I see that he's doing well, and his comedy career is growing. And so don't shed a tear for Dolph Ziggler. If Dolph Ziggler goes away, if he was to retire today, he can look back on a very good career. And one that, you can't let other people define what success is, so if he feels his career is a success, it was a success. That's simple. Man, I was fired up today. I feel like this show was a success. And if the NBA draft commences and the Lakers don't draft D'Angelo Russell, if Jahlil Okafor comes off the board for the Lakers, that will not have been a successful draft. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go watch D'Angelo Russell become a Laker. Last October, I said John Cena was the most generous WWE top star of all time, and some of you politely and eloquently disagreed with me. But fast forward to Elimination Chamber, where he lost to a developmental champion in his first WWE match, and I'm happy to report I'm right.